Alright guys, welcome to the video. John Bodine here with Redemptive Psych. And in this video, we're going to be using this book. It's there's 80 profiles here, 80 historical profiles. It's called Great Lives, Great Deeds. It's quite an old book. And I'm going to roll a dice, and of those 80 names that are listed in alphabetical order, we're going to pick which one we're going to go over. We're going to have 5 minutes on the clock for me to read as much of the little biography section as I can. I might give myself some overtime to look up 1 or 2 quotes, and then that's it. And then I have to deliver a verdict, or the closest that I can get to within that time. So without further ado, I'm going to roll my D8 here and figure out which number we're going to be. Okay, so I got a 2, which means we're going to be in the 20s. I'm going to roll my D10, and then I got 0, 00, and 2, which means we're going to pick the 20th name. Okay, so in this book, at the 20th, oddly enough, we get Charles Darwin. A pretty good poll, pretty interesting guy. This is the little section on him. It's about 5 pages long. And I'm going to start the timer. I'll show you. I got my little timer going here. We're going to start it. And then I might stop along the way to offer some insight if I find something. And at the end of the 5 minutes, we'll see where we're at. So I'm going to start that right now. And we're going to get down to reading. Okay, so it says, when he went on his big expedition, one of them at least, to do experiments, he was only 22, fresh from the university, and they describe him as a retiring, sensitive, soft-spoken fellow who was almost constantly bedeviled by seasickness. So immediately we get an image of someone who's a little more reserved, a little careful with their words, probably kind of sensitive to at least the world around them. And they describe him as having a sensitive nature as well. So what kind of type, what kind of person would be more reserved, more sensitive? Okay, it says, but his keen mind was unflaggingly curious, and it had the trick of devising explanations for everything. Okay, what kind of type, what kind of function can explain a bunch of different things? I think it's either extroverted intuition or extroverted thinking. That sees the possibilities or the different ways that things could fit together with information, possibly both together. Maybe we're looking at an INFP or an ISTJ. He couldn't just accept a fact, he had to find out what caused it. So a questioning, it's implying it's beyond curiosity. It's like a skepticism of like, okay, what's actually going on? That's more causal. That's maybe a little more extroverted intuition. Okay, it's talking about his rising kind of defiance of the creation view. And it says, Darwin's diary records the first dawning of this great challenge. One might fancy, he wrote, that one species had been modified for different ends. On these small, barren, rocky islands, we seem to be brought nearer to the mystery of mysteries, the first appearance of new beings on Earth. Okay, so it's describing his growing defiance of the creation myth, that everything, all these different species, all these varieties came from the day of creation. And he says, based on this challenge, one might fancy that one species had been modified for different ends. On these small, barren, rocky islands, we seem to be brought nearer to the mystery of mysteries, the first appearance of new beings on Earth. So he's saying it in a kind of an indirect way that these things weren't created. They were adapted over time. All right. That's the timer. So that's 5 minutes. I read about a page and a half. And what can I tell you about Darwin in a page and a half? So it describes him as sensitive, reserved, a little soft-spoken. We know that he just came out of college. He just went on this expedition. Now, you might want to ask, what kind of type, what kind of function would go on this kind of expedition? It's very much independent. It's very much space and time for him to think. The fact that the theme I've seen in a page and a half, if you can draw a theme from a page and a half, is his willingness to challenge the status quo, to challenge things, want to know what's actually going on from what can be measured, what can be seen. So to me, that seems, again with some of the other evidence, like extroverted thinking. So I think he's probably a high extroverted thinking type, or if he's a lower one, he's developed more into his thinking functions, such as an INFP being developed into their inferior function more. Okay, so based on that, I'm going to give you my verdict from from the few facts I have available to me. So I think, based on what we know, he's academically minded. He seems to be good at keeping track of information, measuring things. He's interested in academics. But he also seems to have this independent streak to him to be able to go on a voyage like this, to be able to gather his own stuff. So based on that, and with his reservedness, okay, he's probably an introvert because of his reservedness. So we're looking at likely an introvert high TE user. There's only two, the ISTJ and the INTJ with TE parent. And the fact that he's willing to challenge commonly held beliefs, that either points more to, that really points to a high T function. In this case, I think it's TI critic because of his ability to keep track of all these different species and to categorize them. That is an extroverted thinking thing. So he's either, from what I can tell, an INTJ or an ISTJ. Whew. And based on the fact that he didn't seem to mind to be alone for long periods of time, seemed to enjoy the independent procuring of knowledge and data, I'm going to go with INTJ. I think based on this that Darwin was an INTJ, and that's just off of 1.5 pages from the text. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys agree or don't agree. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed a little quick typing, and we'll see you next time. Bye.